Hey everybody, welcome back. Happy New Year. Thank you for joining. My name is Matthew. Hope you all had a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year, and all the rest. Wishing you all the best in 2025. To kick off the videos this year, I wanted to show a chart that I've shown for a long time. Now it's been about 2 years since I've been making actual YouTube videos on these charts and things that I've done for a long time. Actually, the first time I posted about the power curve, Bitcoin following a power curve, was New Year's Eve 2018, so 6 full years ago. But this chart, which I've shown a lot, I'm going to archive the format. Okay, you see here I have in big letters archived. Okay, I'll show you 2 charts in this video today, and this is going to change. Okay, and the reason is because I've always been measuring these percentiles, okay, based on the whole trend, the all-time trend. All right, so if I just take away these percentiles, nothing here changes, of course. Just to remind people, a power trend is very simple. There's one independent variable, one dependent variable. The dependent variable is price. It's what we're solving for. Okay, it's the y-axis. The independent variable is time. All right, in this case, it's days. You can measure it in other ways, but days since the Genesis block is the best way for a power regression to work on Bitcoin. So what you see here with the dates in the x-axis, there's actually more happening under the hood. It's days, okay? So we're 5,500 days or so from the Genesis block. That's what's happening under the hood here. And if you simply plot that according to a power trend and you look at all the data, you'd get something like this, okay? After however many days it is, I should know that off the top of my head right now for making this video, but I don't. Let's say 5,500 days from the Genesis block. This is the trend. This will change a little bit up or down depending on if the price, for example, is above this black line or below this black line. It will of course change it, but I want to try to help people understand the bounds of where this could possibly go. Okay, and to do that, in the past I've had these percentiles. All right, I've analogized them to like sigma. Okay, so this is something like 1 sigma 2/3 of the time between the 16.5 percentile, 83rd.5 percentile, and then something like 2 sigma here between the red bands would be 95% of the time. But the issue was I was always looking at the full trend of the power regression, okay, up until the date that was present, all right, to derive these bands, okay? That was problematic because the full trend changed over time, okay? You're seeing how it looks now after, 16 years of data, less with pricing data. But again, this is just talking about time, days past the Genesis block in January 3rd, 2009. So we're 16 years into this now. January 3rd, 2025 is tomorrow from the date of this recording. So things evolved. All right, and it's the evolution that I didn't quite catch and indeed could change and does change the tempo here and the width of these bands around the trend line. So that's what I'm trying to say I'm going to change in this video, okay? So let's go back, and this is a new chart now. This is what I'm going to show in the future. I have the power regression here. If we could look at, early data when the price is sort of going very high here, then crashing faster, then going higher here. And actually, let me take you back to this is the archive chart. Another thing I want to try to do, right? Okay, so looking at the total data, you see that the price hits here a little bit here, but it doesn't look as good. It looks okay for 2017, but it doesn't, the 97.5 percentile isn't looking great here. Okay, so that was tipping me off a little bit of why we needed to change this a little bit. Okay, so going back to this chart that I'm going to draw for you now, it's going to be the future sort of base case that I'm going to show. We need to see how this power trend evolved over time. Now, on my website, you can see many tables on this. I've said it many times that from about 2016, the trend line really starts to solidify. All right, and what that means is the power, all right, the exponent in the formula, the power formula that makes this trend line. Okay, we have linear trend lines, we have exponential, logarithmic. This is power. Bitcoin follows a power trend line. The exponent is about 6. Okay, but in the past it was actually higher. It was higher than 6, and when it's higher than 6, the trend line would grow faster. So I wasn't really taking that into account when I was doing these bands here of the full trend. Okay, So going back to this chart now, let's just show you how the trend line would have evolved over time. And that's going to be a dotted black line here. Not much different. You can't, especially again, once you go from about 2016, it looks pretty close to the all-time trend, okay? The all-time trend is denoted by the 100 here now. But the play sign, all right, the evolving trend line here, all right, with the play, the black dotted line, you can see that the delta there, the diapason, if you will, it's pretty steep. All right, there's quite a distance here in 2011. There's quite a distance in 2013, 2014. So Bitcoin was trying to work itself out in the market, in adoption, all the rest, according to this power growth curve of what would really be this exponent. And the exponent turns out to be around 6. It was higher than 6 during these periods, okay? So again, I could draw 5,000 of these sort of all-time trend lines, if you will, all right? Because you just every day be a little bit change, a little bit more. So I have just one here, this solid black line, but I could draw 5,000 of them, and they would all look like the tangent, if you will, of the dotted line. So if you can just imagine, like right here, September. Oh, let's pick actually here when Bitcoin's screaming to $30. June. Let me get the exact 35. There we go. June 10th, 2011. All right, you can see that the play button, the solid, the dotted black line denoted by the play button is obviously rising faster than the all-time trend, okay? So if we sort of just took the tangent of that point and drew our own 2011 June 10th trend line, all right, you'd have a black solid line that's way steeper than the one that I have, okay? That's the point. It evolves. And of course, I knew this and would try to explain this. I've shown some charts in the past about different trend lines from year 2012 or 2014. And again, indeed, I've talked about how from 2016, and here we can really see that in this chart, from 2016, this divergence goes away. Okay, it just happens a little bit, of course, during the booms. Again, every day that the price is above the black line, it's going to pull it up. Every day it's below, it pulls it down. The dotted line just kind of shows you how that's evolving over time. But it's really close, okay? The delta here it's just, you can see with your eyes, it's closer than 2011, 2013, okay? So I needed to account for that to make what I viewed as not great bands here, which I was showing before, for these sort of parameters, these percentile bands, these borders of where the price could go. It's all probabilities, right? And by the way, this is not an incorrect chart. It is correct based on the calculations, but I want to sort of take this past evolution into account, okay? So that's what I'm going to do. What I'm going to do basically is I'm going to show you now the real-time past evolution of the way that the price would go, not around the 100 solid black line, but around the play button dotted black line, okay? And so the difference can again be shown here. Let's just use this example of June 11th, 2011. Bitcoin price is $30 at the time, okay? Now, if you look at the all-time trend line based on all the way up until today's data, including all of 2024, 2 days in 2025, the trend line would be $2, all right? So if we want to normalize this data, you actually take the residuals. I just like to take the multiple, okay? So that's, I'll get to that in a second. The multiple at this point of the price over the all-time trend line is 15, okay? It's 15. That's what I was using in the old chart as a baseline, as a base case, okay? But actually, it's a bit unfair. It's helping the past too much, because the actual power regression was having higher exponents, and it was evolving quicker in the past. That's why you see the evolving trend line there, the dotted black. That's what we really should use. So that's what I'm going to use now. And in that case, you take the $30 divided by the 5. What do you get? You get a multiple of 6. You get a multiple of 6. So it's much lower than the multiple of 15. And that's going to take into account our universe of residuals, or our universe of multiples every day where the price is above or below the trend line. So in the old case, by the way, just to reiterate, I was using the solid line, price divided by the solid line, okay, to get these multiples and then get these sort of residuals, these percentile quantiles. But that, I was starting to see that, it's a bit too optimistic, okay? So I wanted to check for that. And shout out to Plan C, by the way, and folks at the Best Bitcoin Data crew, which I am happy to be a part of. He has attacked this a different way. I'm not going to talk about that, but I'm still looking at this from residuals, from multiples. I figured it's a better way to do it my way as well, that like this way. So that's what I'm going to do here. Okay, so what I'm going to show you now is, instead of just keeping it all smooth in the past, right, and assuming, the data that you see here is based on 16 full years of data, all right, for the Bitcoin network, and it's just assuming at today's date, January 2nd, 2024, all right, you get all this data, and then you project back and you project forward, all right? That's why you have this nice smooth line. But it's not working so well. We can see it's just not working so well. So again, I'm trying to correct that a little bit. And what I'm going to do then is, instead of having the smooth lines in the back, I'm going to show how they evolve. And then once we see how they evolve, we're going to get better residuals, better multiples over and under that evolving trend, and we can use that for the future trend. So that's what I'm going to do. And here you're going to see it right now. Okay, so here's the 16.5 percentile, the 83rd and a half. Okay, so anything inside these blue bands is like a 1 sigma. It's not exactly 1 sigma. I understand that's a bell curve. I've always used percentiles, but it's something like 1 sigma. Okay, so that's these are 1 sigma events inside the blue bands, and then we do the red bands, the 2.5 percentile, the 97.5 percentile. There we get the red bands. Okay, so now we can see that this is actually how it looked. This is just the reality of the situation. Better to model it according to that evolving. Let's take off the actual trend line. Let's model the past according to this evolving, sort of as the power regression was figuring itself out, as Bitcoin was being adopted. Was it being adopted too fast, too slow, so on and so forth? That's what you're seeing now. That's what I'm figuring out. And we see here, if you've been paying attention, look at the tooltip. These multiples are tighter than before, particularly on the top end. They're lower. Okay, so let's just take as an example. Let's take the 2017 top. Okay, December 17th is right around here, was the top in Bitcoin price. It hit 20,000 on plenty of exchanges, but the close here I have is actually it's the 16th of December, it was the top, so 19,640. And you see that the 97.5 percentile, all right, how did I get that red band at the top? Let's just take all this off so you know exactly what just looking at the top, right? We're looking at what happens during the booms when the trend line gets a little bit overextended, okay? So what is, in this case, with this data, looking at it this way, 97.5 percentile, 3.6x, what does that mean? That means that the trend, this red band is 3.6 times higher than the trend. Okay, so trend in the evolving trend line now is 3,267. 3.6 times higher than that is 11,731. Bitcoin was already nearly 20,000. Okay, so we were actually in the 99th percentile here, 100th percentile. Basically 100% of observations would have been below this. But this picks it up better, and we'll see how we pick it up better if we go to the 2021 top. Okay. Still doesn't kiss it during, my little simple 1 sigma, 2 sigma trick here, but it's closer. All right, this is the new analysis. The old analysis, remember, it's just farther away. The band is higher. Hope you're finding these videos creative and to the point when it comes to navigating the rough waters of the financial system. And I'm happy to share with you a platform that can do the same when it comes to getting a loan secured by your Bitcoin, and that is Debify. Debify is a non-custodial, Bitcoin-backed lending platform designed for people who want to borrow against their Bitcoin while maintaining full control. Debify offers institutional-grade liquidity through independent lenders, allowing for high-volume loans of up to 5 years. All transactions are secured by a unique multi-sig escrow system, ensuring that Bitcoin collateral remains safe and transparent. This setup guarantees that your Bitcoin is not rehypothecated, and you keep full visibility and control throughout the loan process. It's perfect for those who value security and transparency while exploring global stablecoin and fiat lending backed by Bitcoin. So head on over to debify.com today to get started. So this is where I'm going to leave it. This is what I'm going to show now when I sort of do this analysis, the actual how the power trend line sort of worked itself out. And then in the future, of course, we just project out the same. But the key point is, now that I'm figuring out these multiples, the residuals, based on the evolving trend line at the time, you're going to get tighter spreads here on these bands. So let's just let's only look at, forget the 1 sigma, let's just look at 2 sigma, okay? Here's the actual history, the evolving, and then we see that this goes out. By the way, when will the evolving trend line exactly equal to the all-time? At today's date. Okay, so here it comes up, the all-time trend line that you can project backward, project forward, based on days since the Genesis block. Let's just zoom in even more. So here we see if you're looking at the tooltip, the 100, which is the all-time, 100% of the data, 80,245, but the evolving is a little bit higher, actually, 80,413, a little bit higher, and it's going to converge exactly today, January 2nd, 2025, at the same number, 88,759. That is the all-time trend. But before, again, just to be clear, before, I was just only using the all-time trend to get these multiples, to get the residuals, and then derive the bands. So let's go out 1 year. Let's see the difference. End of 2025, roughly. Let's look at the 2 sigma down. Let's presume that's not going to happen. 2 sigma up, roughly 97.5 percentile. It's about $800,000. $800,000 would be the projection. Okay, now with the new method, which again, it's discounting a little bit some of these prior peaks. All right, it's going to be lower. It's going to be lower. How much lower? Going out to 2025 December. Look at the 97.5 percentile, 450,000. Okay, so quite a difference. It's actually a difference of about 45%. 45%. All right, so the old method, 2 sigma up, 97.5 percentile would be 800,000 per Bitcoin as sort of the potential blow off top, assuming we're on the 4-year cycle, so on and so forth. Now, with this new method of looking at residuals as they evolve in the past, 450,000. I think this is more accurate. Again, both are technically correct in their own way, but you just, this is applied statistics that I'm doing here for you, and I'm happy to answer any questions as well. So let me know in the comments what you think about this. But that's the point. I'm just trying to help you and myself and everybody understand how this power regression has evolved. Again, it's a super strong fit. As of today, 96% R squared. It's just very, very strong goodness of fit. And, I want to try to get the tops and the bottoms to look a little bit better. Okay. And we can see here with this going back in the past now, this makes more sense just showing you the live data. This is actually how it was evolving. Okay. So this was the blow off top to $30. We were over the 97.5 percentile event. Then we went way down, kissing the 97.5 percentile event on the downside. But see that, the all-time trend is right here, the 100. The all-time trend here is, it's not very helpful to run backwards compatible analysis, actually, because it's, we're below 2 sigma, actually, of what happened. All right, so this is the challenge, of course, of matching old data with new, so on and so forth. But I think this is actually a better way to look at it now. It's just to show you really what happened, how the trend line evolved of the power regression. Again, just imagine at each point of that dotted black line, the tangent could be any new line. You could draw it at any point, any day. In 2015, 2016, the cumulative line. But as we move through time, it's going to meet the all-time trend, which is the solid black line, and that's how we project to the future. And again, we can see that, really from 2016, this is the remarkable thing about Bitcoin, the adoption curve has been pretty amazingly consistent around this power regression trend line. Okay, it's been proportionate. That's another way to describe what's happening here. The larger the network gets, the higher the adoption. Okay. Another way to think about this is, and you can see this on my website, is for every doubling of this trend line, it takes about 12.5%, actually closer to 13% more days to happen. Okay, so back in the past, first of all, there were shorter days and it was growing at a faster clip. But let's say we touch something that, like right here, right, where everything is kissing the all-time line. This was this would have made sense in the past as well. So here, doubling from, I can run this out for you. Let's even take this off. Let's take off the evolving. This is actually has nothing to do with, this is just explaining to you how it works. But so somewhere here, well, since the evolving matched it, okay, it's like right here. Okay, so $35. All right, we're going to go to $70 now on the solid black line, and that's going to represent 12% more days in the Bitcoin life cycle. Okay, so $35 doubles to 70. It only took, we're in February 2013, going to 70, July 2013. It only took 4 months, 5 months. Okay, and we see that actually it went quicker. It went quicker on the evolving trend line, but that's just how it was working in the past. But if you look overall, what's the net of it? How does Bitcoin grow? The price doubles for every 12.7 increase in days in the Bitcoin network. So this is how I'm going to present it in the future, the actual values of the past. And then once we get to today's date where we have no more data, project out, of course, according to the all-time trend line. Hope that helped you. Let me know what you think of this in the comments. Happy New Year.